स्वागत है आपका स्टडी नाउ 25 में। मैं अभिषेक गौतम और आज के इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं कंप्लीट डिटेल्स ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर और हम इसको कवर करेंगे एजेस के थ्रू, प्लस इसमें आपको एक पीडीएफ भी मिलने वाला है, तो वीडियो पूरा देखें। यह वीडियो पूरा देखने के बाद से आपको किसी भी टॉपिक में डाउट नहीं रहेगा और इस पूरे वीडियो को हम लोग बाइलिंगुअल में कवर करने वाले हैं। तो प्लीज़ फ्रेंड्स, इस वीडियो को एक लाइक और शेयर ज़रूर करिए।
History of English literature, and the first we will discuss the first age of this British literature, Old English period, which is known as Anglo-66. This is the time duration of Old English or Anglo-Saxon age. Yes friends, ये जो इसका time duration है ये 450 से लेकर के 1066 तक का time duration regard किया जाता है British literature में Anglo-Saxon period के नेम से। एंड द टर्म एंग्लो-सैक्सन कम्स फ्रॉम टू जर्मनिक ट्राइब्स, जो जर्मनिक ट्राइब्स थे उनके नेम से इस एज का जो ड्यूरेशन था 450 से लेकर के 1060 का टाइम, उसको एंग्लो-सैक्सन नाम से जाना जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ टू जर्मनिक ट्राइब्स, द Angles and the Saxon, and the era ends in 1066 when Norman French under William conquered England. Yes, ये जो एरा था, ये जो 1066 में एंड हुआ था, नॉर्मन फ्रेंच के उसमें विलियम ने कॉन्कर्ड किया था इंग्लैंड को। एट दैट टाइम दिस एरा ends. A lot of prose during this time was translation of something else or otherwise legal and medical and religious in nature. Yes friends, if you talk about literature point of view, then most of the literature or most of the work done in this period, they had the translation work. वो translation work हुआ करते थे and they are related to the legal और लॉ से रिलेटेड थे, मेडिकल मेडिसिन से रिलेशन था, एंड रिलीजियस द लिटरेचर ऑफ दिस टाइम ऑफ एंग्लो सैक्सन टाइम, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट, दे आर इन नेचर, दे आर रिलेटेड टू लॉ, मेडिकल मेडिसिन एंड ऑल्सो रिलीजन से रिलेटेड लिखे गए थे जो भी वर्क यहाँ पे इस टाइम पे लिखे गए थे, and most of them were translation. However, some works of such as Beowulf, yes friends, the writer of Beowulf is unknown. We do not have who had written Beowulf, but this is the literary piece of this time, Anglo-Saxon time, and this is very important epic poem Beowulf जो है, and those by periods poet Cadmon and Sinwulf. These are the two important poets who had written literary works during this time, and Beowulf was also one of the important and epic poem written during composed during this time, but their author, but the writer, the poet of Beowulf work is unknown till now. Next we have the Middle Period, Middle English Period, and 1066 to 1500. This is the time duration of the Middle English period in history of English literature. And Middle English period sees a huge transition. Yes friends, was the time of the transition because Anglo-Saxon time was ended at this time, and new age started with a new flow, with a new kind of things had done during this time. In language there was a kind of transition in language, culture, and also lifestyle of England, because whatever things were happened during the time of the Anglo-Saxon or Old English time, they were not now in use, and there was a kind of revolution, or you can say a new beginning started in Middle English time from 1066 to 1500, and it was a transition in language, in culture, and in lifestyle of England. Everything is changed during this time, and the era extend to around 1500. The Middle English writers जो राइटिंग्स थी, दे वर ऑल्सो रिलीजियस इन नेचर, वो भी रिलीजियस, क्योंकि एट दैट टाइम चर्च एंड पोप एंड religion was above all, above everything. Because of that, literature was also very much influenced with this religious mindset of the people, and poets and writers of that time, they were also very much imbibed the nature of the time, and that was religious. However, from about 1350 onwards, secular literature began to rise. This period is home to be like Chaucer, Thomas Mallory, and Robert Henryson. And notable works included in this period: the Canterbury Tales. Yes, friends, this is all very important work of Geoffrey Chaucer. And during this time, Geoffrey Chaucer was an important literary figure. Thomas Mallory was also an important literary figure of the Middle Ages, and Canterbury Tales was one of the most prominent magnum opus of the Geoffrey Chaucer. Piers and Plowman and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. These are the important notable works written during this time. And friends, प्लीज मैंने यहाँ पे बहुत ही selected वर्क्स को यहाँ पे इंक्लूड किया हुआ है, बिकॉज इफ वी talk about one or one by one all the works, then it would be too long a video. That's why you will get all the separate videos uploaded on this channel. I have made all ages differently separate videos, and I have uploaded them on this channel. आप चेक कर सकते हो, आप प्लेलिस्ट में जाकर के हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर की जितने भी वीडियोज हैं सभी वो प्लेलिस्ट में अवेलेबल हैं. आपको वो प्लेलिस्ट जब मैं ये वीडियो आपको अपलोड करने के टाइम पे अवेलेबल मिलेंगे आई बटन पे, आप वहाँ पे चेकआउट कर सकते हो. एंड दैट्स वाई दिस वीडियो I have mentioned only important works during the period. Now let's discuss another one. Now we have another period that is called Renaissance. Yes friends, Renaissance from 1500 to 1660 का ये जो time duration था history of English literature में, that is known as the overall time period Renaissance. And Renaissance time में you will see different ages जिनका मैं अभी आपको यहाँ पे describe करके आपको mention कर देती हूँ what ages came to existence during the time of Renaissance. Critics and literary historians have begun to call this early modern. This period was called early modern by the critics and historians. This period is often subdivided into four parts. Yes friends, जो Renaissance का time duration था from 1500 to 1660, this period is subdivided into four parts and they are all ages. The first we have the Elizabethan age. Elizabethan age, this is the golden age of history of English literature. British literature का ये golden age था because of the work done by the writers, poets in the literature point of view, and also because of the ruling queen Elizabeth. Elizabeth was the ruling queen, and she was the virgin queen because she had not married her ruling period. And this was also a prosperous things had done, prosperous country, a prosperous period when Elizabeth was ruling over England. And this age, Elizabethan age from 1558 से 1603 का टाइम था Elizabethan age का. And the Jacobean age, the second age from 1603 to 1625. The Caroline age from 1625 to 1649, and also the Commonwealth period from 1649 to 1660. So overall four periods were included, were into the existence during the time of the Renaissance. And the age Elizabethan age was the golden age of English drama because William Shakespeare was the prominent dramatist of this time, and he had written tragedies, he had written comedies, comic tragedies he had written, and historical plays he had written, chronicle plays, which is also obviously known as. And this period is above all in every point of view. That's why it is a golden period of English literature. And the Renaissance period includes the literary works of Christopher Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe was also one of the important figure. Dr. Faustus, he had written Tamburlaine, and also here Edward II, we have his work. Francis Bacon, another literary figure. Edmund Spenser, Fairy Queen. Sir Walter Raleigh, and of course William Shakespeare, John Donne, John Webster, Ben Jonson, and John Milton, Paradise Lost. We have Robert Burton, George Herbert are some of the important literary figures. They were came into existence in the Renaissance, and they had written literary works. They had contributed English literature with their most famous, most important literary works written during this time of the Renaissance in different ages. The King James translation of Bible was also appeared during the Jacobean age. Yes friends, Jacobean age में King James का जो translation था Bible का, this was very important work done during the Renaissance time and especially Jacobean age we have. Next we have Neoclassical period from 1660 to 1798. This is the time duration of the neoclassical age, जिसको बोलते हैं it has a something new, but it was a imitation of the classical rules and regulations followed by the poets, followed by the writers of classical age, and this was followed by the neoclassical writers. There was a kind of a new things they have done with that rules. They have imitated their style, Greek and Latin writers style they have imitated. That's why this age is called neoclassical age. And friends, neoclassical age, like we have talked about Renaissance, that was divided into four parts, and it has also ages. We will also discuss into that neoclassical period was also subdivided into ages, including the restoration from 1660 to 1700. This is the time duration of the restoration is. Augustan is from 1700 to 1745. This is the time duration of the Augustan age. And the age of sensibility from 1745 to 1798. So this period, neoclassical age period, was subdivided into three ages: restoration, Augustan, and also age of sensibility. Restoration comedies or comedy of manners, which is known as comedy of manners. Yes friends, restoration comedies was one of the important drama, important kind of comedy done during, written during this time by the dramatists, developed during this time under the talent of the playwrights of the William Congreve and John Dryden. John Dryden and William Congreve were the important dramatists who had followed this term, this restoration comedies. Comedy of manners, comedy of manners is related to the style and the living pattern, living style of the people of अपर मिडिल क्लासेस इंग्लैंड, जो उस टाइम पे लोग रहते थे, उनकी स्टाइल को उन्होंने फॉलो किया, उनकी स्टाइल को उन्होंने अपने राइटिंग्स के थ्रू रीडर्स को बताया. व्हाट वाज द स्टाइल followed by the upper middle classes, what kind of show off they had shown to the people of the England. This was all the upper middle classes had done, and this was given to the readers by the work of the John Dryden and William Congreve. Satire also was also became a popular term. Evidences was the success of Samuel Butler. Samuel Butler was one of the best satirists and famous satirists of this time. And other notable writers of this age we have John Bunyan, John Locke, Alexander Pope. Yes, friends, Alexander Pope, very much famous for his use of couplets. Couplets उन्होंने यूज किए हुए हैं. एंड ऑल्सो जोनाथन स्विफ्ट, डेनियल डिफो, जो ये नॉवलिस्ट हुआ करते थे. एडमंड बर्क वी हैव, एडवर्ड गिबन, जेम्स बॉसवेल, एंड ऑफ कोर्स सैमुअल जॉनसन, द क्रिटिक of this age. And these are the important notable writers of the neoclassical age we have. Now let's move on to that is another age period from British literature. 1798 to 1832. We have the 1837, sorry, this age started with the publication of the lyrical ballads, and this was the collaboration work of William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, ST Coleridge. And William Wordsworth का ये collaboration work था, which was published in 1798 में publish हुआ है. And with this publication, romantic era started, and romantic era was related to the nature, emotions, love, feelings. It has all things, and sympathy. These all the things were in the literature of the romantic era, written by the poets, written by the writers of this age. William Wordsworth, Coleridge we have, William Blake, and Lord Byron, John Keats, Charles Lamb, you will see Percy Bysshe Shelley, B.B. Shelley जिनको हम जानते हैं, Thomas de Quincey, Jane Austen, Mary Shelley. These all are the very famous and prominent figure of English literature, and they all belong to romantic era. And romantic era की जो style थी, writing style थी, that is very different from the neoclassical age. They had something little bit of the Elizabethan style they had followed, but they are not very much imitated that style. They are had written something which is very natural, very living, and very simple rhythmic qualities they have followed the natural style, they have followed the they have kind of a sympathiness towards the nature. And William Wordsworth was known as the worshipper of nature, because he had written his all works, whatever literature he had written all related to the natural theme, love themes he had written. Next, we have the Victorian period from 1837 to 1901. This is the time duration of the Victorian age, and the Victorian age named after the reign of the Queen Victoria, who ascended to the throne of England in 1837, and it lasts until her death 1901 का टाइम जो था, तब तक इस एज को विक्टोरियन एज के नेम से जाना जाता है. एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो वेरी ग्लोरियस, वेरी revolutionary एज you can talk about. And from 1837 to 1900 in time, this is a long time, and Queen Victoria ruled over England during this time. It was a great time of social, religious, intellectual, and economic issues, yes friends, heralded by the passes of the reform bill, which expanded voting rights. Yes, reform bill was one of the important things happened during this time, and it expanded the voting rights to common youth. And this period has divided into early Victorian age from 1832 to 1848, and mid 1848 to 1870, and the later 1870 to 1901. This period is also divided into early, mid, and later Victorian age. And the poets we have here: Robert and Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Robert Browning and Elizabeth उनकी wife थी. She had also written literature and work. Robert Browning is famous for his dramatic monologue. He had used brilliantly and very sharply, very clearly, very prominently. He has used this term dramatic monologue in his poetic volumes, in his compositions. Christina Rossetti, Alfred Lord Tennyson, Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold was great poet and critic of this age, Victorian age we have. Thomas Cradley, John Ruskin, unto this last his work, Walter Pater appreciation he had written, and were advancing the essay form in this time. Yes, essay was based on Thomas Cradley, John Ruskin unto this last, and appreciation is related to the essay's work. Charles Dickens, novelist, great novelist of the Victorian time, and also of English literature, history of English literature. Charlotte and Emily Bronte, both sisters. Elizabeth Gaskell, Marianne Evans, इनका जो sorry, Elizabeth Gaskell was another. George Eliot was the name of the Marianne Evans, जिनका real name Marianne Evans था, but she had written works, literary works by the name of George Eliot. Anthony Trollope, Thomas Hardy, for his famous for his Wessex novels, and he's regarded as Wessex novelist. William Makepeace Thackeray and Samuel Butler. These all are the important novelists, important literary figures who had contributed English literature a lot through their literary works.
And the
Now
Edwardian
we have
period and
from
the age
1901
in a
to
row.
1914, ये जो टाइम ड्यूरेशन था ये एडवर्डियन पीरियड का था. दिस पीरियड इज नेम्ड आफ्टर द किंग एडवर्ड VII and covers the period between the Victoria's death and the outbreak of First World War. Yes, friend. First World War happened in 1914, and after the death of Queen Victoria and the time of the First World War, this is the time duration between the time of these two. Whatever the time was, that was Edwardian period. और आपको इसको modern age भी you can say this also. Although a short reign of Queen Edward VII, the era includes incredible classic novelists such as Joseph Conrad, Ford Madox, Ford, and Rudyard Kipling, H.G. Wells, Henry James. These all are the important novelists who had written literature during this time. And notable poets we have here Alfred Neons, William Sam Butler Yeats, WB Yeats जिनको बोलते हैं, Irish poet थे. And the dramatists such as we have James Barrie, George Bernard Shaw, and John Galsworthy. John Galsworthy, George Bernard Shaw, these are the two important figures of the modern time, and this Edwardian period comes under modern age. Next we have the Georgian period, 110 to 1910 to 1936. This is the time duration of the Georgian period, and this is usually refers to the reign of the George Fifth from 110 to 1910 to 1936. The Georgian poets we have Ralph Hodgson, John Masefield, W.H. Davis, and Rupert ब्रूक. दीज आर दी पोएट्स. एंड फ्रेंड्स, मैंने यहाँ पे डिवाइड इसलिए किया हुआ है मॉडर्न एज को एडवर्डियन एंड जॉर्जियन पीरियड में, बिकॉज समटाइम्स इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में आपके एग्जाम्स में क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं एडवर्डियन पोएट्स के बारे में, जॉर्जियन पोएट्स के बारे में. दैट्स वाई यू मस्ट हैव एन आइडिया who the poets were belongs to this age. That's why I have included these two ages in the modern ages, and I have separately discussed these two ages in this video. And please friends, note down the poets and writers belongs to the particular ages separately in your notebook, so that you can, whenever you go for your exam, you can check it out and you can one time remind it, or you can go through the pages where you have written these all these important poets of the particular ages. And the theme and the subject matter of the work to be ruler and pastoral, they have written in nature, and treated delicately and traditionally rather than with the passion of experimentation. Yes friends, Georgian poets जो थे उन्होंने जो वर्क लिखे हैं, दे आर वेरी रूलर, दे आर वेरी लाइवली, दे आर नेचुरल, pastoral in nature उन्होंने लिखा है, and they had not followed the passionate and the modern period we have null work from in their writings. 1914 now let's discuss to till now you can regard this time also as a modern period. And modern period traditionally applies to the work written after the start of First World War. And common features include bold experimentation. Yes friends, experimentation with the subject matter, style and form, and narrative style, verse, and also in drama. This was a age of experimentation followed by the different writers of the ages. That's why it has a the age of experimentation in the subject matter, in the theme, story, and what is the style, what is the form followed by the previous writers. Some of the notable writers we have of this period: जेम्स जॉयसी, नॉवलिस्ट जिनकी बात की है मैंने, यस, स्ट्रीम ऑफ कॉन्सियसनेस वर्क उन्होंने लिखा हुआ है. यूलिसिस इज द इम्पोर्टेंट नॉवेल रिटन बाय जेम्स जॉयसी. वर्जीनिया वुल्फ, मिसेस डैलोवे, इनका एक इम्पॉर्टेंट नॉवल है रिलेटेड टू द स्ट्रीम ऑफ कॉन्सियसनेस. एंड एल्डर्स हक्सले, डी.एच. लॉरेंस, जोसेफ कॉनरैड, डोरिथी रिचर्डसन, ग्राहम ग्रीन, E.M. Foster, Doris Lessing. These are the important novelists of the modern age. And we have the poets here: W.B. Yeats, T.S. Eliot. The Wasteland is the important work of T.S. Eliot. W.H. Auden, Seamus Heaney, Wilfred Owen, Deland Thomas, Robert Graves are the important poets of this age. And we have the dramatists: Tom Stafford, George Bernard Shaw, Samuel Beckett, and Waiting for Godot is the important drama of the Samuel Beckett. Frank McGuinness, Harold Pinter, and Carl Churchill. These are the important dramatists of this age. And we have also new criticism also appeared this time, and we have a like of Virginia Woolf, T.S. Eliot, William Emerson. These are the important critics of this age we have. And the last period we are going to discuss here in this video, the postmodern period from 1945 to till now. You can regard this postmodern period. And the postmodern period begins about the time of the Second World War ended. 1945 में ये जो वर्ल्ड वॉर एंड हुआ, then this period is regarded as the postmodern time. And many believes it is a direct response to modernism. Post-structuralist literary theory criticism developed during this time. Some notable writers of this period we have Samuel Beckett, Joseph Heller, Anthony Burgess, John Fowles, Penelope M. Lively, and Ian Banks. These are the important writers of this postmodern period, and many postmodern authors wrote during this modern period also. जो postmodern period के जैसे आप सैमुअल बेकेट की बात कर लो, and he was also from the modern age because some of the work he had written during this modern time. So friends, this is the video related to the history of English literature.